think that's just power of association.
Yeah, I don't find that they taste like honey as much as they are the
Yeah.
really generally fruity coffees.
Yeah, and I find like that sweetness that you get from a natural translates well into honeys, but you lose a little bit of that fermenty kind of thing going on. So it creates a bit more of a balanced cup.
Which is why washed coffees are so popular.
Washed coffees, beautiful coffees. They're not often very like, on that like funky, fermenty kind of side of the natural, but they're often more crisp, clean, acidic, and I find it easier to differentiate terroir through washed coffees generally than naturals. Aside from like natural Panama coffees or like natural Ethiopians are fairly easy to distinguish terroir, but then certain ones like it gets difficult. But washed coffees definitely allow you to have a bit of a brighter, cleaner cup. And that's something we can talk about in more detail as well in the future.
Totally.
Yeah.
Any other questions on there?
No, just Barb's saying giving a little emoji with the heart eyes.
Hi, Mike.
Holly answering some question about our produce. Thank you, Holly. They're just Holly answered that.
No, I think there's another question.
So, Chris Lowe's, it's interesting to be wearing these masks doing this interview, but with the pandemic as it is, I was wondering how things have been going for you.
Well, we're on the second lockdown, and I'll say it's been fairly difficult. As I say, it's a grind, and we've had to pivot so many times now that when this is all over, if I hear the word pivot again, I'm going to poke somebody in the eye.
So, when did you start?
Well, we opened up in 2011. The street was really different. There was no performing arts center across the road, no school, and it was maybe pre the start of the revitalization of the downtown.
Okay, and in terms of business, like what have you been doing to adapt to the pandemic?
Well, like I said earlier, we've had to pivot a lot of different ways. So we're at the spot now where we have, we have beer and wine sales, grocery sales. We've started a produce subscription, which has been a small victory for us. So hooray for that! And we have coffee subscriptions, and of course we're doing takeout, and we've sort of kicked up our coffee game, and we're selling coffee gear as well.
So you have a good relationship with your suppliers, obviously.
Yeah, you really have to through these times, and of course, changing through it. You're developing new suppliers, and your suppliers are adapting as well. Of course, restaurants and tourism and food service in general has all been, and entertainment, all these things that we're involved in has been radically changed. And so the suppliers for all these industries are radically changing too. So you really do have to keep a solid relationship there.
And you have a strong supplier in Fairweather Brewing.
Fairweather Brewing is a great supplier. They were great before the pandemic. We were, had a special relationship with them. Their beer is outstanding. They're outstanding people, and now most breweries now they offer a larger selection of cans. Where before we were just selling mainly by tap, by draft beers.
Yeah. So where do you think things are going? Like you talked about pivoting, and you said that if you hear it again, you'll probably.
Folks, I was just joking about that, but it is like I long for a day where I don't have to change our business so radically so many times. I mean, there's an energy from doing that and trying to figure things out, but when you go into that from a place of desperation, which the pandemic has put the food service industry in, it's a little different. So, we like trying new things, and when we do come out the other side, and I hope we do come out the other side, there's a lot of stuff we'll keep. We've really enjoyed the produce subscriptions and working with local farmers and display and Ontario produce producers and Canadian wide actually. we've enjoyed that. It's been a lot of fun having unique grocery items. So that stuff we'll keep. We'll definitely want to bring that with us when we get to the other side. And I just think that if we can make it there, we'll be stronger for it. But we're heading into some darker days now, I think, right now. And it's sort of that darkness before the light, with vaccine. Standing where we are now at the end of January.
So it's about traffic. It's about getting the people back in, getting that atmosphere that you're famous for here in St. Catharines. And
It's so true. Like we were about, like community and people sitting down, and our industry is based on let's go for a coffee and people are meet. And sometimes people will just come here and then they'll meet somebody new, or they'd hang out here saying, well, I know, I'm going to see somebody, and it's a real social experience. And for me, when we opened Mate, we really opened it because of the romance of a cafe. So it's not quite as romantic whenever it's takeout and you can't sit down.
this morning you did a little webcast, and I captured some of that footage, and it was quite intriguing, actually.
So obviously we're crazy about coffee here, and we often have people asking us questions, and there's different methodologies to coffee. So we thought it'd be really fun to do like a coffee live. And so Michael and Caleb, they call it the Daily Grind, and they did some pour over coffee, and we talked about different coffees and different methodology. And we're probably going to try to do that on a sort of weekly basis, so people can just drop in, like figuratively online, and sort of just talk coffee. And we got a lot of regulars on there, so there's a little bit of joking around going on as well. It's sort of like a way people can gather together online, since we can't do it in shop right now. And we talk different coffees. We have some whole bean sales over here, so we talk about these individual coffees, and just about how to make coffee at home, and how to have that sort of, in this case, you have like two baristas that have made a lot of coffee, and they answer questions about different ways of making coffee, and about like different coffee beans and such.
What does the actual term mate mean?
So mate, the name is based on a South American tea called yerba mate. And the reason we chose that is because when you drink yerba mate, it's usually a communal experience. So a lot of times it's put in a gourd called a guampa, and then you drink it for a perforated straw called a bombilla. And you drink some, and then you pass it to the next person, and they drink some, and it goes all the way around. And sometimes in families, you'll see it done, like a grandfather to a granddaughter, or grandson, to the brother, sister, mother, father, and it's intergenerational. And then in small villages, sometimes people get together at the end of the day. And anyways, it just represented what we wanted our shop to be about sort of community and coming together.
And how do you keep your staff upbeat?
I think we all work with each other on that. It is, I think, it can be very difficult at times, and I don't want to diminish that, because these are hard times for us, and it's perfectly normal for us to get down now and then. But I think we work together really well, and when one is further down than the other, then we kind of boost up each other. And then there is a bit of that energy of trying to figure out how to do it, right? So there's, I think, most part, we're just always trying to work moving forward.
Yeah, and do you have a good relationship with your landlord?
My landlord has been outstanding throughout this, throughout our whole time that we've been here, actually. So his name is Harry, and he's been really understanding, and I think he's invested in us, surviving as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think we've covered a lot of stuff here. Just like we're all in this together, and hopefully we'll be stronger when we get through the other side.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Take care, Anthony.